Imagine for a moment standing on the edge of a great storm. The wind howls, the skies darken, and chaos rages all around you. Inside, your emotions surge with equal intensity: anger, fear, sorrow, each one tugging at your mind, threatening to pull you off course. But what if I told you that this storm, these emotions you often feel powerless against, hold within them a secret force, one that, when understood, can be harnessed for clarity, strength, and resilience? The world would have you believe that emotions are to be suppressed or controlled by sheer will, that their wild nature is an enemy to your peace. Yet the Stoic path does not teach repression, nor does it ask you to deny the storms within. Instead, Stoicism invites you to see your emotions for what they truly are: hidden powers waiting to be transformed. Like a fire, emotions can consume you if left unchecked, or they can illuminate your path if you master their flame. You see, emotions are not your enemy. They are not chaos to be feared, nor weakness to be shunned. They are signals guiding you to deeper truths about yourself and the world around you. And when you understand this, when you learn to embrace, shape, and direct these forces, you unlock a strength greater than any external force can provide. So the question I pose to you is this: will you allow the storm to sweep you away, or will you learn to sail through it, using the wind to carry you to new heights? In the following lessons, we will explore 10 deep lessons from Stoicism, a journey of emotional control, not through exhausting struggle, but through understanding and acceptance. Stepping into the world of Stoicism, you will learn to face each wave and every challenge with patience and steadfastness. Stay with me, and by the end of this journey, you will no longer fear the storms within. You will command them. Lesson number 1: decode the language of your emotions. Imagine for a moment that emotions are not random forces, but rather messengers from the soul. Each one, whether anger, fear, or even joy, carries with it a meaning, a lesson, waiting for you to unravel. Yet how often do we silence these messengers, either by reacting without thought or by drowning them out in distraction? In truth, emotions are like a language most of us have never been taught to understand. But once you learn to decode this language, you gain a powerful insight. You begin to see that anger is not just fire raging within. It may be a signal that your boundaries have been crossed. Fear is not merely weakness. It may be caution, urging you to tread carefully, to prepare. Even sadness can be your guide, reminding you to reflect on what matters most. As Stoics, we are not here to run from our emotions, nor to be ruled by them. Instead, we aim to listen, to observe, and to learn from them. It is in this space of reflection that the emotion transforms from a chaotic surge into something useful, something actionable. When you decode the message, you unlock the wisdom beneath the surface. The next time you feel an emotion rise, whether it's irritation with a colleague or frustration with a loved one, pause. Ask yourself, what is this emotion trying to teach me? What truth does it hold, and how can I use that knowledge to act with reason rather than impulse? You see, it's not the emotion itself that causes harm. It is our blind reaction, our failure to listen to the wisdom it offers. But once you decode the language of your emotions, they no longer control you. Instead, they become your guides, pointing you toward greater clarity, deeper understanding, and a life lived in harmony with virtue. So ask yourself now, in this very moment, what is the message beneath the emotion I am feeling right now? Unravel it, and you will find that your emotions, once understood, are not enemies but allies on the path to wisdom and self-mastery. Lesson number 2: slow time down. Master the gap between every emotion and action. There's a moment, a gap, where your freedom to choose lies. Most of us rush through it, letting anger, fear, or frustration dictate our reactions. But Stoicism teaches that in this brief pause, we hold immense power. Imagine this gap as a breath before the storm. In it, you can reflect rather than react. When emotions rise, practice the art of the pause. Breathe, ask yourself, Will my response align with virtue, or am I acting on impulse? Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength. By slowing time down, we transform from being controlled by emotions to controlling them. Master this gap, and you master yourself. Lesson number 3, the bird's eye view. Zoom out for clarity. When caught in the grip of emotion, everything feels urgent, overwhelming, as if the world is closing in around you. But remember this, perspective is the key to peace. What seems insurmountable now, seen from a higher vantage, often becomes small and fleeting. Imagine rising above your life, like a bird soaring over a landscape. From this height, the chaos below seems distant, the immediate frustrations mere specks in the vastness of your existence. This is the Stoic bird's eye view, a way to zoom out and regain clarity when emotions cloud your judgment. In moments of stress or anger, ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years, or even 5 days? This simple shift in perspective can dissolve the intensity of the present, revealing the insignificance of most things we allow to disturb our peace. As Marcus Aurelius wisely noted, how much time he gains who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does, but only at what he does himself. By zooming out, you see that much of what consumes your thoughts is temporary, unworthy of your distress. In every emotional storm, practice this. Step back, rise above, and observe from the vastness of time. Ask yourself now, how many of today's worries will vanish when viewed from this higher perspective? Lesson number 4, turn your triggers into teachers. In the heat of emotion, when frustration rises, we often see triggers as enemies, obstacles in our path. But what if instead, these triggers were your greatest teachers? Every moment of irritation or anger is a signal inviting you to look deeper. These emotions don't arise to torment you, they emerge to guide you toward growth. To the Stoic, a trigger is not a foe, but an opportunity to practice virtue. When a situation challenges your patience or tests your peace, it is the universe asking you, how will you respond? Seneca reminds us, difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. Triggers are your mind's workout, moments designed to build your inner strength. The person who annoys you, the inconvenience you didn't expect, each is a lesson in self-control, in patience, in wisdom. The next time you feel provoked, stop. Ask yourself, what is this moment trying to teach me? Instead of reacting, embrace it. The Stoic transforms every irritation into a stepping stone toward mastery. Remember, it's not the trigger itself, but how you choose to meet it that defines who you are. Lesson number 5, build emotional muscle, strength in repetition. Just as a body grows strong through repeated effort, so too does the soul. Emotional resilience is not something gained in a single moment. It is built, day by day, through the repetition of small victories over yourself. Imagine each moment of irritation, impatience, or fear as a weight to be lifted. The more you face these emotions with intention, the stronger you become. As a blacksmith hammers iron to harden it, life presents us with emotional challenges to temper the spirit. But let us be clear, strength is not in denying emotions, but in facing them without being overwhelmed. As you would with physical exercise, begin with small tasks. Each time you resist the urge to snap in frustration, every time you pause before reacting in anger, you are building your emotional muscle. Over time, what once felt heavy will seem light. As Epictetus taught, no great thing is created suddenly. With each moment of practice, you forge a self that is calm under pressure and steady in the face of adversity. So, start small. The next time a minor irritation arises, treat it as a training session for your soul. With each repetition, you grow stronger. Ask yourself, what emotional muscle can I build today? Lesson number 6, the art of letting go, mastery through release. There is a quiet power in learning to let go. So often we cling to things beyond our control, people's opinions, outcomes, even the mistakes of the past. But in our grasping, we become prisoners of what we cannot change. Imagine holding a stone in your hand. The tighter you grip it, the heavier it feels. But once you release it, your hand is free, light again. Stoic wisdom teaches us that true strength lies not in holding on, but in the grace of knowing when to release. As Epictetus reminds us, some things are up to us, and some are not. We cannot control the actions of others, the twists of fate, or the passing of time. What we can control is our response, and whether we choose to carry the burden or let it fall away. To let go is not to surrender, but to claim mastery over yourself. It is to say, I will not be ruled by what I cannot control. In every moment of frustration, of disappointment, ask yourself, is this within my power to change? If the answer is no, release it, and in doing so, release yourself. Remember, the art of letting go is not a weakness, it is the ultimate sign of strength and wisdom. Ask yourself now, what am I still gripping that I can choose to release today? Lesson number 7. Turn reaction into reflection. Master the journal. In the chaos of daily life, our minds become cluttered with impulses, reactions, and emotions. We act before we think, speak before we pause, and in the aftermath, we wonder, what was I thinking? Yet the answer lies not in silence, but in reflection. And the greatest tool for reflection is the Stoic journal. A journal is not merely a record of thoughts, it is a mirror of the soul, a space where your mind can slow down and observe itself. Each entry is a chance to transform reaction into wisdom. By putting words to the emotions you felt, the choices you made, and the actions you regret or cherish, you create distance between yourself and the storm within. In writing, you find clarity. As Marcus Aurelius, one of our greatest Stoics, knew well, the act of journaling is a daily practice of self-examination. Each night, he would reflect on his thoughts, on how he met the day's challenges and what he could improve. What did I do well, he asked. What could I have done better? The power of journaling is simple. It turns the mind's reaction into deliberate reflection. Instead of being ruled by emotions, you analyze them, learn from them, and grow. Each page becomes a stepping stone toward a more centered, conscious life. So tonight, before you close your eyes, take a moment to write. Reflect not only on what happened, but on how you responded. Ask yourself, what lesson did today offer me? What emotion did I overcome, or which one overcame me? Master the journal, and you will master yourself. Your life, seen through reflection, will no longer be ruled by the rush of reaction, but by the quiet wisdom of understanding. Lesson number 8. Embrace the fleeting nature of emotion. Emotions, though powerful, are like clouds drifting across the sky. They come, they change, and they eventually pass. Yet how often do we allow ourselves to be swept away by their temporary force, believing that each feeling is permanent as though it defines us? In reality, emotions are as fleeting as the wind. A Stoic sees emotion for what it truly is, a momentary visitor, not a permanent resident. Whether joy or sorrow, anger or fear, no emotion is eternal. When we recognize this, we take the first step toward freedom. Marcus Aurelius himself wrote, "How quickly all things disappear." It is a reminder that even our strongest emotions will dissolve, leaving behind only the way we responded. When you feel overwhelmed by emotion, whether rage, grief, or anxiety, pause and ask yourself, how long will this truly last? As the waves of the sea rise and fall, so too do our feelings. The pain you feel today will be but a memory tomorrow, a mere ripple in the vast ocean of your life. By embracing the impermanence of emotions, you gain the power to endure them with grace. You no longer resist their arrival or cling to their departure. Instead, you watch them come and go, like a wise observer watching the tides. In this way, you master the art of emotional balance, not by force, but by acceptance. Ask yourself now, what emotion am I clinging to that I must let pass? Remember, what feels heavy today will soon become light, if only you allow it to drift away. Lesson number 9, gratitude as your emotional reboot. Gratitude, perhaps the simplest yet most powerful tool we possess, is the key to shifting our perspective when emotions cloud our minds. In the midst of frustration or sorrow, it is easy to focus on what we lack or what has gone wrong. But imagine for a moment that you could reboot your emotions simply by changing your focus to what remains good, what endures, what you still hold dear. Gratitude to the Stoic is not a shallow appreciation, but a profound acknowledgement of life's gifts. It's the practice of looking at what is present, not what is missing. Seneca once said, "Nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart." In the face of adversity, gratitude serves as a powerful antidote, turning our thoughts away from loss and toward abundance. When the weight of emotions bears down upon you, stop. Reboot your mind by reflecting on what you are thankful for at this very moment. Perhaps it is the health you enjoy, the loved ones by your side, or simply the breath you take in. Even amidst the hardest trials, there is something to be grateful for. This practice of gratitude is not just a comfort, it is a way of realigning your emotions with clarity and peace. The next time frustration takes hold, ask yourself, what remains good in my life? By focusing on the positive, you will find your emotions rebalanced, your heart lighter, and your mind clearer. Gratitude is not the end of suffering, but the beginning of perspective. Reflect now, what can I be grateful for in this very moment? Reboot your emotions by embracing the gifts you already possess. Lesson number 10. Mastery is in the practice, not the perfection. We often mistake mastery for perfection, believing that true control over our emotions means we must never falter, never feel anger, sorrow, or frustration. But this, my friend, is not the Stoic way. Perfection is a false idol. It is the pursuit of mastery through daily practice that leads to true strength. Imagine a sculptor chipping away at stone. Each strike of the chisel brings the form closer to its final shape, yet it is not the perfect blow that creates the masterpiece, but the repeated effort, the steady hand. So too with your emotions. Mastery is not about never feeling anger or anxiety. It is about practicing how to respond with wisdom again and again. Epictetus reminds us, we are not disturbed by what happens to us, but by our thoughts about what happens. Each day gives you a new opportunity to train your mind, to refine your emotional responses. Some days you will succeed, other days you may stumble. But remember, it is the process, not the outcome, that shapes who you are. Mastery is found in persistence, in the commitment to keep moving forward, however small the steps. Ask yourself, did I handle my emotions better today than I did yesterday? If the answer is yes, you are already on the path to mastery. If not, you have been given the gift of practice, and tomorrow will offer another chance. Do not seek perfection. Seek the steady improvement that comes from daily effort. Mastery is not a destination. It is the practice of living each moment with intention and clarity. What small step can you take today toward emotional mastery? Reflect for a moment. What if your emotions, those forces you once believed to be wild and untamable, are not your weakness, but your greatest source of strength? To the untrained mind, emotions appear as chaos, storms that disrupt the peace of our inner seas. But to the Stoic, these emotions are the winds that fill your sails, capable of driving you forward if you learn to steer. You see, your emotions are not enemies to be conquered, but allies to be understood. When you pause to reflect, when you slow down time, when you let go of what you cannot control and embrace the impermanence of each feeling, you are transforming what could overwhelm you into what empowers you. This journey of Stoic mastery is not about silencing emotions, but about giving them their rightful place beneath the rule of reason. The practice of Stoicism teaches you to ride the waves of your emotions, not to be consumed by them. And in doing so, you discover that your strength was never in avoiding emotion, but in mastering your response to it. So I ask you now, will you harness the power within or continue to be swept away by the winds of reaction? The choice is yours. Through Stoic practice, your emotions will become not the storms that break you, but the force that drives you toward clarity, virtue, and peace. Master your emotions, and you will master yourself. Your strength lies within. If you found wisdom in these Stoic teachings and want to continue your journey toward inner peace and mastery, don't forget to subscribe to the Ultimate Stoicism channel. Join a community dedicated to living with virtue, clarity, and strength. Like this video if it resonated with you, and let's continue to grow together as we apply timeless Stoic principles to modern life. Your path to a calmer, more resilient self starts here.